So maybe just let me know if you can't hear me. There are some really important things that I've come on here to talk about today. And really, what that is just like, okay, we all know there's a lot going on right now. We all know that the world is doing a lot, right? There are wars going on. There's all this stuff that we have to deal with every day, and we have to figure out like how am I going to emotionally process this, and also like show up for myself and show up for maybe my kids if you have kids, or my job, or whatever else it is that you have going on in your life. And there's a lot that we could say about that, but there's really just one thing that I want to say about that, and that is that you have a permission slip to do whatever it is that is in alignment for you. Because by you doing that, you are being the change that you want to see in the world. And what this time is really doing for us, with everything being so intense, is it's offering us this opportunity to find clarity around what it is that our specific gift is that we can give to the world. And spoiler alert, that gift is not like a I make this thing or I do this thing. That gift is literally you being the person that you want the world to feel like. Does that make sense? So I had to write a whole book about all of this and so much more because this is so much to talk about that it could go on and on and on. But there's a way to do this. There's a way to be the way that you want the world to feel, and to actually change the world by doing that. And the first step to doing that is to actually allow yourself to feel everything that you feel. For me, I knew this as a concept so long before I was really able to do it. Because for me, I've come from a background of healing through a lot of trauma. And I talk about this a lot more in my book because it's a long story. But in short, I started out with a lot of mental um, chaos as a kid, like not knowing how to manage anxiety and not knowing how to manage a certain level of like being really overstimulated by my environment. And then that grew into a lot of coping mechanisms that created a lot of trauma as I got older. So then I had to heal from that. And I realized, like, okay, I've got a lot to feel. And I've kind of got these ways that I try to avoid feeling those things. And I knew that eventually I was going to get to the point where I could really feel. Now, let me tell you, like 2 days ago, I put this on my TikTok too. I was driving in my van and I was like, I'm feeling this overwhelm. And usually when that overwhelm happens, I'm like looking for a way to kind of manage it. This time something different happened. What happened was that I sank into this space in my heart. Like I could feel it, actually feel it in my heart, in my chest. And it felt like home. It felt safe. And for the first time, maybe ever, in just a regular moment, I felt that I had created the foundation that I needed in order to be able to fully feel. That's big. That's what we're working on unlocking right now. That's what all of this chaos is prompting us to do. It's saying, look inside yourself and figure out where you're fighting. Figure out where your war is. Okay? Figure out where your walls are. Figure out where you're rigid, because there's something that we do as an internal process, and it's really important. And now it's becoming illuminated because it's been unconscious for a long time. And what that is that we have this identity, right? And we want to have a strong identity. It's like that's what you need in order to go, in order to move through your day, in order to take action. You have to have a nice, strong ego, a strong personality, a strong identity. And so we do everything that we can to keep that identity intact. And that's the purpose of our beliefs. Our beliefs come in and they go, okay, I believe this about myself, and that keeps my identity intact. I believe this about the world, and that keeps my identity intact. I believe this about other people, and that keeps my identity intact. So the beliefs serve a really important function. Now, a lot of times, we do this work of keeping our identity intact without realizing that that's what we're doing. And what can happen is we keep an identity intact that we used to need, that we don't anymore, because there used to be a threat that isn't there anymore. And so that's where we start to see PTSD. That's where we start to see this trauma response that happens in our nervous system, in our body, that says, I'm not safe. I'm not safe. How could you possibly expect me to feel something right now when I'm not safe? I'm not going to sit here and feel everything that it feels like to be a human when there's a tiger about to bite my face off. You know what I mean? So it's like we have to cultivate this level of safety for ourselves within our bodies in order to be able to feel everything. So if you're not able to feel everything right now, that's okay. You feel what you can, and you make space where you can. And you just take that one little tiny step at a time, and that's okay. And that's enough. Because your intention to do this work is actually what aligns you with all of the resources within yourself and outside of yourself. It's what aligns you with all of the support. It's what aligns you with the community. It's what aligns you with the opportunities. It's what aligns you with everything. Your intention is that powerful anchor that actually pulls you forward, rather than you having to come up with the energy to mobilize yourself and step forward with those heavy, effortful steps. So that future version of you, that future identity, is actually able to reach back and pull you into it. And the way that you do that is you use your power of imagination and visualization to bring yourself into being that person. So we can get into that more later. I write a lot about that in my book. And that too is like a super simple process. If any of this stuff sounds abstract or like, oh my God, I've never heard that before, or I have heard that before, but I'm having a hard time integrating it, it's not complicated stuff. Being a human, as hard and crazy and complicated as it might seem, is actually not. It's a very simple process. And yet we have all these thoughts that come in and these beliefs, right? Because a belief is like a really strong thought. We've got these beliefs that come in and they make everything complicated when it doesn't need to be. So again, what we have going on right now is a process in the external world that is asking us to go inside and start to check out our beliefs. It's asking us to go inside and say, does that belief actually still serve this version of me that I am in the future? Does this belief that I'm holding right now hold intact an identity that I want to become? Not just an identity that I have been before or that I even am right now. And so this process of bringing our beliefs to question, first of all, is extremely brave. If you're doing this work, you are so brave. And if you want to do this work with someone who can see how brave you are and how intentional you're being, if you want to do that work with me one-on-one, please reach out. You can, because that's what I do. I'm a coach. I'm a person who brings through psychic information and does the energy work to clear this stuff out and work with you to go forward to become that version of yourself. But regardless of how you want to do this work, regardless of who is your support person, regardless of what you're creating for community, you're doing it. And that's really important. And how you do it is going to be completely unique to you. And as long as you're looking at yourself, you're doing the right work, okay? So if somebody says, no, you need to actually go out and protest today. No, you need to boycott this company. No, you need to believe this or that or whatever. You can say no. You can say no to that. You are allowed to set boundaries for yourself that align with you being the version of you that is the feeling that you want the world around you to be. Okay? We're going to go into that a little bit more because that's like, I feel like that's a lot. Okay, your job today and every single day, and here's your permission slip. Go ahead. You can take it now. Here's your permission slip to do whatever today allows you to feel the way that you want the world to feel. So how do you want the world to feel? Joyful, safe, supportive, non-judgmental. There are all these loving, compassionate, kind, right? These are the things that we all say we want. We want to live in a peaceful place. We want to have all of this stuff surrounding us so that we can be our best selves. Can you be that though? Because if you in your mind are fighting everything around you, then you're not creating that. If you are the war within your own mind, then you are creating war. And that's okay, okay? Like, it's okay to take responsibility for that, to notice it. It's not something that you have to feel guilty about or shameful about. It's not. because this is an opportunity. Every moment is an opportunity to be honest with ourselves, to be truthful, and to take responsibility. No more being afraid of responsibility. There are so many things that we do to avoid taking responsibility because we're afraid of it. Why are we afraid of responsibility? Does anybody have any ideas? Why do you think you might be afraid to take full responsibility for your experience? Well, I'll tell you my idea. I think that we're afraid to take responsibility because responsibility is synonymous with power. And if we accept that we have responsibility for our beliefs creating our world, then we have to accept that we are extremely powerful. And that can be scary. That can be scary because we have beliefs that are keeping an identity intact. And this identity is a victim of circumstances, of the world. This identity wants to stay a victim so that it doesn't have to be in power. Because when you are in your power, completely and fully in your power, first of all, you are the world that you want to live in. You are the feeling that you want to create. Second of all, you're not able to be a victim anymore when you're in power. When you are in creator mode, you can't also be in victim mode. Those things don't go together. Okay? So that's also really great, because if you're noticing that you are in victim mode, if you're like, oh, well, I have this thing, this job that's making me this way, or I have so much stress and that's what's making me be this way to my partner or my kids or my whatever, or I have this circumstance that is making me, etc., whatever it is, really. That's where you go, oh, I see it. I just did the thing. I did the victim thing. I just told myself that I have to act a certain way, behave a certain way, or feel a certain way because of an external circumstance. You notice that, you take responsibility immediately. If guilt comes up, sure. If shame comes up, whatever. You're powerful enough to actually sit with that. You can let that process through you and rearrange you. Because when you feel your emotions, they do their job and they go off the clock. If you don't feel your emotions, they come back over and over and over and over again, and they will create either imagined scenarios or lived scenarios where you have to keep feeling that emotion over and over and over again until you actually own up to your power and allow yourself to feel it fully enough that it can process. Okay? That's how emotions get stuck. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to keep doing that. Once you wake up to these processes, when you wake up to how you are functioning, then you get to be in charge. Then you get to go, okay, I'm just not going to do it that way anymore, because that way doesn't work for me the way that I actually want my life to work. Okay? So we take responsibility for what we're feeling. We take responsibility for what we're thinking. We take responsibility for our full internal experience. And what that does is it's going to shake up all those beliefs. It is. Because again, that identity says I'm a victim of all these things. These beliefs are holding that identity intact. And once those beliefs start to shift, that identity starts to go, I don't even know who I am anymore, and that feels really unsafe. And what that does is it prompts you to actually find a level of safety that exists in a version of yourself that you haven't known yet. And what does that feel like? That feels like death. Straight up. Sorry. Can't sugarcoat it. That feels like death. And it also feels like rebirth. I've given birth 4 times. I can tell you it is not a comfortable experience. This isn't supposed to be comfortable, but you are strong enough to handle that. So if something comes up in you that's like, I don't think I'm strong enough to handle that. Like, I don't think that I can do discomfort, and I'd actually just rather stay comfortable because I don't believe that I can do whatever is uncomfortable for me. I can't sit with myself in discomfort. That is coming up because when you were a child, you were, for whatever reason, not supported in your discomfort. But you get to reparent yourself now. And you get to challenge that. You get to show yourself, oh, wow, okay, actually, it didn't kill me to be uncomfortable. It didn't even kill me to have a panic attack. It didn't even kill me to, whatever. And you show yourself how strong you are. And that's honestly the only reason that I am where I am right now, able to write a book, able to see clients and help people move through this stuff, able to teach my own kids this stuff, able to do anything that I do. The only reason that I can do that is because I have been so uncomfortable in so many different times in my life, because I've taken the brave step to actually sit with myself. That's so brave. If you're doing that, That is so brave. You are so brave. And you are so powerful to just be honest with yourself, to just sit with yourself and feel whatever comes up for you, to just actually notice what you're thinking. Like, this is the work that changes the world. So do that today, and that's enough. That's enough because what that's going to do is it's going to put you in a position of empowerment where you then have the energy to do whatever it is that inspires you. That's where you get to do your work in the world, okay? That's your foundation. And you can do whatever. Like, you can go to the protest, you can help out at the whatever, you can do anything that you feel like is changing the world. And that's all good. But just know that all of that is a part of your process of doing this internal work. Because there's going to be war going on outside of you as long as there is war going on inside of you. And never have I ever come to any situation with another person where I've been like, you have to change your belief because you're wrong. And that person goes, yeah. Like, no, we don't get people to change the way that they do the world. We don't get to change people's beliefs for them. We don't get to do that by force, okay? Because that is the war. That is the war. There's another way. You can invite someone into your way of seeing the world. And I will show you how to do that. Keep watching my videos, keep listening to my music, work with me one-to-one if you want to. I can show you. The only way that we do that is by living the example of what feels good to us, what feels like joy, what feels like love. The most important work that you can do is to reorient yourself to what love feels like within yourself. Because love does not come from outside of you. It can be stimulated by anything outside of you, right? Like, your partner can stimulate love, your children can stimulate love. But that love is something that you feel in you because it is you. So you be that. Learn how to be that. That is always the best choice. There is never, this is like the only thing that I can say for certain in my life. Because there are so many things where I'm like, this is what I know, and also it could change. But this is true. This is really, really, really true. There is never a situation in your life where there will be a better choice than love. Ever. And what that love looks like in that situation could take infinitely different forms. Love does not mean that you're never angry. Love does not mean that you're never sad. Love does not mean that you're not grieving. Love is not an emotion. So it doesn't exclude any other emotions. Love can hold all of your emotional expression and experience. And love is what helps you process, right? Because the mind is not meant to do the heart's job, but we give the mind a lot of the heart's work. We say, I feel this. Oh, put it up here right away. Let's make sense of it. Let's figure it out. Let's delegate it. Like, that is not what the mind is supposed to do. The heart processes emotion, okay? And then we notice which thoughts happen at the same time as that emotion, and that's our position of power. If you notice which thoughts are happening at the same time as an emotion, then you get to feel the emotion, look at those thoughts, see if maybe those thoughts aren't true, right? Because if the feeling that I'm feeling is fear or worry or doubt or self-hatred or shame or something like that, and I know what that feeling feels like in my body because I'm tuned in and I've done this practice, right, of noticing, oh, there it is again. Oh, I know that feeling. Oh, that's worry. There it is. I feel it. Then I can go, what am I thinking right now? Okay, well, let's do an example. Like, maybe I notice that I'm feeling worry, and then I go, okay, so what am I thinking? And I'm thinking, oh, well, my car just broke down, and so now I'm going to have to spend all this money on my car repair, and I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. Reasonable thought. Very, that would stimulate a lot of worry for sure, because your survival is threatened, right? Your living situation may be threatened, okay? So that can come up, and that can be like the first thought that comes up in one of those stressful situations. And then when you actually notice, oh, and that feels like worry in my body, you can go, all right, I'm going to work in this position of power that I'm in, and I'm going to introduce a new thought, and I'm going to invite my belief to change, and I'm going to invite my emotional state to change. So we invite a shift in our emotional state, which is our frequency. If you hear people talk about your frequency that you're putting out or your energy, they're talking about emotional energy. That's what that is. Emotion is our energy, okay? So if you want to raise your frequency, you got to shift your thoughts. So we have to start where we are, though. We have to start where we are, and we accept where we are. That's present. That's being present. That's being mindful. So we go, okay, well, here's where I am, because I just had the thought that I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, and it was associated with this feeling of worry that I recognized in my body. So now next I go, can I introduce a thought that feels a little bit better? And maybe the next thought is, okay, well, yes, so, okay, my car did break down. That's real. I am feeling really worried, but I know that I'm strong enough to sit with myself through this. Cool. That feels a tiny bit better. And then maybe the next thought is, okay, not only am I strong enough to sit with myself through this, but I know that I'm so creative and I've made it through really hard things in the past. We're getting somewhere. And then maybe the next thought is, not only am I really creative, but I have this community around me of people who support me, and I'm really resourceful. And maybe it would be a good thing for me to be brave enough this time to ask for help. Maybe that would kind of disrupt a pattern of me feeling like I never can ask for help, or like it's just really scary for me. And maybe I'm actually brave enough that I could do something different this time, and maybe this is actually an opportunity. Whoa, now we're in a completely different vibration. Okay? Now we have recognized that this situation, along with literally every other situation that has ever happened and ever will in your entire life, is an opportunity. That's gratitude. That is a high frequency. That is a very smart emotional state. Okay? It is very, very smart to choose love and to choose gratitude. And you can say that as an affirmation to your sweet little brain, because our minds love to have a job and they love to be told that they're doing a good job. Because all those thoughts and beliefs, they're like, I just really want to hold this identity intact. This is my whole thing. Like, can I do that? And if you're like, oh my God, thoughts, you did such a great job holding that identity intact. And now also, I'm going to shift it and change it to this new identity that belongs to this future version of myself that has everything that I dream of. So I'm just going to like let that belief go by not giving it any more thought energy, by not giving it any more attention, focus, by not giving it any more mental energy, right? I'm going to choose a new thought. And then mind, could you just like hold this one instead? Or could you allow that one to even shift into a higher emotional vibration? So we work with ourselves. It's so funny because it is like parenting, right? Like we talk to ourselves all the time. Do you notice that? Do you notice that you're talking to yourself? Like your thoughts are a constant feedback loop. You're always talking to yourself. And how you talk to yourself matters, my friends. That matters. That matters more than anything else that you do in your entire life. That's why I wrote a whole book about it. It won't be out until next year, so hold your horses and just keep following me on all the platforms. Same handle on all the platforms. And I will keep talking about this because it is really important. You are powerful, and you are not a victim. And we can go into that a little bit more too, okay? So I'm not just a person who like sprung up as like a beautiful, healthy flower and like had everything perfectly in place, right? Like that's not me. And if I was that, I know that it could be easy to look at me saying you're not a victim and be like, of course she doesn't think I'm a victim because she hasn't ever had anything hard happen to her. Not the case, okay? And that is also all written into my book. I've had a beautiful abundance of opportunities to grow into the person that I am today through hardship and through challenge. And I am grateful for that because those are the things that have taught me what I'm sharing with you now, okay? So I have been in a position in my life many times where I have been the victim. I've been the victim of other people's imbalances in their own understanding of power. I've been in a position where I thought something was taken from me that I could never get back. And what I realized is that nothing is ever taken from us. We are whole all the time. And sometimes, in order to feel safe, we might take parts of ourselves and kind of section them away and put them in boxes and not allow ourselves to access them, but they are still there. And the only thing that we have to do is do the clearing work. That's why I do energy work with people. Because if you've got things in boxes, you've got systems that aren't communicating with each other. Whether those are beliefs that won't touch each other, that won't communicate with each other, they're like two wrong sides of a magnet together. Or it could be organ systems that aren't communicating with each other, or parts of your body that just are, the communication has been severed. There's something going wrong there. But it's not that the parts aren't there. It's like if my heart didn't know that my mind was here, that wouldn't mean that either of them aren't there, right? It just means for some reason they're not talking to each other. So no one has ever taken anything away from you. You have adapted to painful situations and created maybe imbalanced or unhealthy patterns of communication. And so what I realized once I realized that was that all I needed to do in order to get everything to talk to each other again was to come home into myself. I needed to find that space of home in my heart. And like I said earlier in this video, I found that. I'll get to the point where I feel it 100% of the time. Right now I can feel it sometimes. So sometimes it's like I have to do something on purpose to make sure that I can remember where that is. And other times it's like it just spontaneously arises. Okay. But the point being, there are times in our lives where we feel like a victim, where we feel like we have no control, or we feel like we have no power. But there's always an opportunity to come into our power, because again, what is power? It's our ability to be a creator, right? Victim and creator, those don't go together. So if you put yourself in a creator position, then you are no longer in a victim position. So you are a creator all the time, because this is really important. Listen, because you are the creator of the meaning of your experience. You create the meaning, okay? So that is what puts you in a position of power. You are constantly creating the stories that you're telling yourself in your mind. You are creating your beliefs, and your beliefs create the way that you experience the world. So you are actually creating that. And I know, sometimes that can feel like bad news, because you have to take responsibility. You have to. And you start to see the patterns that were operating in you that put you in the position to receive whatever it was, whatever the experience was, that felt really disempowering. And it's not a shame thing. And it's not a fault thing. And it's not even a direct thing where you can say, like, that something was someone's own doing, right? Like, it was not my own doing that someone else, I want to use words that are not disruptive to maybe a younger audience who might be watching this, but if someone does something to you that crosses your boundaries, right? That's not your fault. And also, when you take responsibility for the meaning of your experience, when you write your own story, what you're doing is you're taking the power back that you gave that person by saying, this person did this to me, and so now I can never this again. I cannot feel like this. I'm stressed all the time. I feel blah, blah, blah. I have got PTSD. I blah, blah, blah. Whatever that is, whatever that story is, you take that back. You put your power back in yourself. You take that center of gravity and you put it back in the center of you, so that you're not orbiting an experience that happened to you in the past anymore, right? Just put that right back in there. And then what you're doing is you're taking that power that is yours and that was yours the whole time, that you gave to this person or experience or situation. It can even be a situation like poverty. I am this way because I don't have enough money. I am this way because, whatever. You take that, you put it back within yourself. What you're doing is you're taking your power back, you're putting yourself back in a position of being a creator. And that's where you have to be in order to create the world that you want to live in. Not just for yourself, but for everybody. That's the position that you've been looking for if you've been on a journey of manifestation or the law of attraction or any of these terms that we get familiar with that are like, we can create our own reality. Well, yes, but you have to be in a position of power. Because if you're putting all your energy into creating a story that says that you're a victim, then you're not positioning yourself as a creator, right? So again, this can be so much. But all that you have to do is be with yourself, be present with yourself, and feel everything that comes up and notice your thoughts. It's literally those two things. That's it. That's it. And like your intention to do that, again, your intention to heal, your intention to be healthy, your intention to be a creator is going to lead you in ways that you can't even imagine right now. Like when I first started this journey, there were days that I woke up that I was like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to get out of bed? How am I supposed to take care of anybody else, let alone myself? How am I supposed to show up at a job? How am I supposed to anything? And I trusted because of some beautiful divine wisdom that I have been so blessed to receive, that my intention would be enough to lead me. And just knowing that was enough. It was like, today might be a mess. I might make 1,000 mistakes. And still, all of it is on track. And still, all of that is me going toward my goal. Because if you can know that, if you can know that this future version of yourself is actually calling you forward, is pulling you into them, then you're not mobilizing yourself on, I have to take I have to come up with the energy of every one of these steps. Like, no, life is moving you. Life is living you. I don't know if anyone's told you that recently, but you are not just like this thing that is living life. Life is living you, my friend. You are a part of life. You have all the energy you could ever need, literally, because you're alive. And if you feel drained, it's because you're just doing it wrong. Sorry, but it's okay. We can have a good sense of humor about it. My bad, I was doing it wrong. I thought that I had to come up with all the energy to do this, and the whole time there's been this divine joke, which is that I am just being pulled into my own future. Wow, if I could just get more on board with that process, maybe things would be easier, right? There will come times where you're able to laugh. There will come times where you're able to find the joy and the humor in your own suffering. It can be unimaginable from the position that you're in, but I guarantee you that this intention is enough to bring you into that. And it's wild. It's wild how this happens. It's this process of being a person who is fully online, who is back awake, who is conscious of their experience. It takes incredible bravery, and it is incredibly rewarding. And you doing this work is enough for the world to change. You're doing it. That's so brave. So today, when you go through your day, no more telling yourself that you're not doing enough. That is a story. That is you making meaning of your experience. You have the power to change that story. That's on you. It is. That's where we have to take responsibility. So stop it. Quit it. Stop being mean to yourself. Don't be a jerk. You get to be nice to yourself. That is your choice. Choose it. Because, like I said, there is never a situation in your life where love is not the highest choice available. So, what does it sound like to speak to yourself lovingly? Choose that. And when you're doing that, you're putting yourself back in your position of power because you're creating. You're creating your experience. You're creating your story of yourself. You're creating your story of your own life. Okay? So do that and trust that that's enough for today. You get 24 hours in a day. That's it. You can't do more than that. That's it. So trust that what you can fit in that is enough. And that you are enough. And that all of this is going in the right direction. And that life is your medicine. And that all this big crazy stuff that's happening in the world is happening to give us this opportunity to come into everything that I just said in this video. And do that work within ourselves, because that is how we do that work outside of ourselves. Okay? No more fighting this, fighting that, fighting whatever if you don't want there to be war in the world. You're not fighting cancer. You're not fighting disease. You are inviting yourselves back into coherence. Because an invitation is something that people will willingly accept, that cells will willingly accept, that your body will willingly accept. No more fighting yourself on your own beliefs. Oh God, why do you believe that? You should No. Inviting a new belief. Taking away the energy that you were giving to a belief that doesn't serve you anymore and putting it into something new. Right? Okay? We can be more gentle with ourselves and still create the same effect, or even a better effect. If you don't want to see war happening in the world anymore, find it. Where is there war happening within you? Check it out. Be brave. Go in there. Alright? It's not going to kill you. is not going to kill you to go inside yourself and be honest with yourself. Or it might. It might. It will, actually. It will kill your ego 1,000 times. And it will feel like you are being destroyed. And that is okay, because that is what is required for you to be reborn. And I promise you, you are strong enough to do it. You are strong enough to be uncomfortable. And you are strong enough to sit with yourself. You can reparent yourself. Every single moment that you were a kid and you were uncomfortable and the circumstances were just not holding you in that discomfort, you get to redo that now. Okay? All right, I'm going to leave it there. Again, if you want to work with me one-on-one, we can get into what you're specifically going through. I can bring through psychic information from what I call beyond the veil, guides, ancestors, all of these things speak through me very clearly and easily because I've cultivated the channel. And I also am able to do energy work to help rearrange and shift and clear out the stuff that you don't need and get all those different parts of you to talk to each other again, and to talk to you in your conscious awareness. So you're able to really see what's going on and see why the patterns that you're experiencing in your life are happening. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, just reach out. I make music for you. I have so much music. I make it for me too, of course. And that's how it works, right? If you're doing something that's online for your soul, then you're doing it for everybody. So I make music. It is beautiful. It has all these messages in it. And it also will return you to the flow state when you're listening to it because I created it that way. What else? I made a book. It's going to come out, but not for a while. So just tune into all my social media platforms. They all have the same handle: Substack, Instagram, TikTok. I don't do Twitter or whatever the heck that's called now. I don't do, yeah, that's pretty much like the only major one that I don't do. I do have a website. That link is in my bio. You can check out all my offerings and things there. I do retreats. I have one coming up in August if you want to come to Minnesota and hang out. And then I also offer some live workshops if you are a member of my Substack. And it's only $8 a month to be a member of that. So you get a bunch of different exclusive podcast episodes, exclusive videos like this, Q&A opportunities, and also live events. So check all that stuff out if you want to connect more. And regardless, you got this. We got this. We're doing this work. We're doing it on purpose. It's going to work out. It's going to be fucking crazy. Oops. I tried so hard not to swear the whole time. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be sad. It's going to be all the emotions. It's going to be chaotic. The world is going to be going through it just like we are, right? Internal, external, same thing. So just do you. Do what you can. And when you're doing you, again, that puts you in a position to be compassionate and loving to everything, to the world all around you, and to invite other people into your way of being. So they go, look at them. They're shining. What are they doing that's making them so shiny? Because I want to be like that. And people will start to watch you and observe you and ask you questions and listen to you. Okay? So if you feel like there hasn't been a space for you to do your thing, to speak your truth, to create, to whatever, to have that attention coming back to you of people asking, how are you? I want to know more about you. All you have to do to make that space for yourself is to be in your creator form. Not in your victim form. Nobody wants to hear that. Be in your creator form, right? Tell those stories on purpose. You can do it. You'll find your way. Okay. I love you. Signing off. It's Mama Rose. Bye.